Alrighty, I believe we are live. We'll give it a couple minutes just for people to load in. See if anyone joins us.
That'll be all right. It's not loading up for me.
Give it a couple minutes just for people to... Yeah, turn your volume
All
on.
right, I'm going to turn the volume down.
Alrighty, let's see where this goes. We'll give it. We'll just give it a couple of minutes and see if we get anyone that joins us. What's your drink of choice today, this evening?
Jim Beam.
You're a true blue.
Yep. What are you drinking?
Ballantine, mate. I'm that classier.
Oh, he has
type.
to think about it.
We'll get.
Do you need cue cards to work out what you're drinking?
Yeah, I don't. I forgot about that for a sec, but yeah, Valentine. I think we'll get started anyway. And then people can join in or whatnot, or watch it on replay. But yeah, basically, like to welcome everyone. Yeah, like to welcome everyone to this live. I'm joined with Anthony from ShedTorque. So I just wanted to introduce you guys to Anthony. You might have seen him in my featured channels and whatnot. So I just wanted to, basically just have him on the live and just talk a bit of rubbish, talk cars, talk whatever, wherever it leads us to. And maybe perhaps even talk about some of the projects that you've done, completed, and or are in the stage of completing. Anthony is based in Melbourne as well, the lockdown state. But we'll keep politics out of it. But so we're both in lockdown, hoping to do some collabs together and some content together. But obviously, we can't do much at this stage besides lives and stuff like this. So perhaps maybe introduce yourself, Anthony, and let everyone know sort of what you're about and what you got going on.
All right. So I'm not sure if anyone can see me because I've just lagged out. But basically, ShedTorque was established about 18 months to 2 years ago, and it was just a channel just for a bit of fun. And from there, I just sort of progressed in uploading a lot of the cars that I tend to play around with.
Yep.
And I suppose I have the nature where when someone turns around and says you can't do that, then that makes me dig my heels in and I'll turn around and do it.
Yeah.
And that was that pretty much brought around the Barra converted Jeep.
Yeah, so perhaps talk a bit about that a bit more.
All right. So if anyone knows anything about Jeeps, they'll know that they're hugely expensive to maintain. Trying to get parts for them makes it even more difficult, especially here in Australia. And I was leaving home one evening from work and the clutch just got worse and worse. In the end, I couldn't change any gears. And I just had enough of getting a quote for nearly $2,000 just for a slave cylinder and master cylinder for a car that was over 10 years of age. It just didn't seem right. So I thought about just converting put more Jeep stuff back into it that was going to be harder to get parts for.
Yep.
Some people ask why don't I just go out and get a Ford Territory? And I'll just say power to weight ratio.
But that'd be too easy.
The Jeep, yeah, the Jeep's 500 kilos lighter than a Ford Territory. It weighs the same as a Falcon, and when you're running, it's all-wheel drive. It's not a slouch.
Okay, so I might just introduce a couple of people that are, in fact, watching us. So Adam from GC8 Australia. If you've watched my previous videos, he was the one that helped me with the tedious task of removing the motor from the front-wheel drive MX-6. Was fun hanging out with him, but it wasn't a fun experience removing that POS. Sean's been a big supporter. I've got your sticker, Sean, so I appreciate it. Yeah, hopefully we're unlocked. We'll see how we go. Can you see the comments too, Ed?
No, mate, I don't see anything, but that's fine.
No, click live chat again on your phone or whatever you're using. No 2K barrel.
Yeah, it's
So if you a bit of housekeeping with Anthony. So if you click X and then go click live chat on the stream on your phone.
Yeah, it is, but it's lagging.
Yeah.
The actual phone is way behind we are in real life.
I don't know. I don't know if I ever explained that, Adam. So when I was pulling the motor out, or when Adam and I were pulling the motor out of the MX-6, I didn't have a socket large enough for the drive shafts. So we end up just, because I didn't care about the car, it was never going back on the road. We end up just grinding the drive shafts in half, and it took ages because the shafts are obviously hardened. So we're just going through cutoff wheels after cutoff wheels, and then I think I had like hardly any cutoff wheel left, and we just managed to to cut the last shaft. So that was definitely a fun day. But yeah, if you guys have any questions or whatnot, make sure you put them in the live chat. If Adam can't see them, I can see them, and I can let him know if there's anything that he needs to know or needs to answer. But yeah, we're talking about, so Adam's, just as a recap, Adam's basically converted. What model Jeep is it? Sorry, Anthony. What model Jeep is the barrel
Mate, that's why I'm not responding to you.
yeah, sorry. All these A's.
It's a 2000.
Yeah, so 2000 Jeep, but does it have its own XJ? Was it? Was it an XJ Jeep?
2000 XJ Jeep Cherokee.
Yep. With a Barra turbo conversion. All-wheel.
Yeah,
all-wheel
so I'm
drive?
running. Yep, so I'm running the Ford Territory BDR, four-speed transmission, and we've got custom drive shafts to the front and rear, and we're still running the original Cherokee diffs, which they seem to be holding up, but the car hasn't done a lot of mileage as yet. So
someone in the comments says you keep your big keg is saying that you keep freezing up. Where Anthony is, he's got buckets of internet, and I think his bucket is running out up in the country.
Yeah. I think it's even cups. It's not even buckets.
Are you running ADSL or NBN?
No, ADSL. Jesus. No, NBN.
You got dial-up? You got dial-up?
It's a really long piece of string and a mod. That's the problem.
Yeah. So we're
Yeah.
just for this, we're basically using like a free stream thing through the internet, just so both of us can do it. But perhaps on later ones we will look into something that's a bit more efficient. But yeah, so welcome to Big
Yeah.
Keg. So yeah, basically welcome to everyone that's joining our streams. But yeah, so besides how did you go about mounting the actual straight six and the gearbox and everything?
Just made my own. Fitter and turner by trade, so I just machined everything up in house and just trial pulling it in, pulling it out until eventually everything fitted. I think the biggest hurdle is engineering. You know, there was a lot of hoops that we had to throw that engineered, and there was a lot of things that we had to do to maintain the crumple zones. For example, the barrow is a lot taller than what a standard Jeep engine is, the AMC, and we had to cut a hole in which the engineer wasn't really happy with, as the structural integrity of the bonnet apparently is removed. So even though we wanted to run a fiberglass reverse cowl on there, he wasn't happy with that. So we had to make everything out of sheet metal, and then we had to notch all the steel so that it would crumple up in an accident exactly the same as the factory one would, which took a lot of work.
Oh, wow. So that's another thing you probably should mention. You haven't just gone and put a barra in a Jeep and started driving it around and kept it registered. You actually attempting to get it engineered as well and get it all legal.
Yeah, I've been consulting with an engineer, and it's been he's been fair. It's hard. It's in hindsight, I understand exactly where they're coming from, especially here in Melbourne. The emissions test is over $1,000 a hit, and there's no way knowing you're going to get a 10-year-old Barra to pass an emissions test. It's just not happening. So the only way that we could get around that was everything had to be stock. Even though I had a larger turbo that I was fitting to the engine, we had to remove it all because he needs to be able to turn around and tick all the boxes and say it's exactly the same as how it left the factory.
And then once you get that certificate, the GT42 going on it, a big front mount, a big reverse cowl, some all-wheel slicks, cruising the highway.
Maybe. It's I had a friend, Bill Hooton, come around, and he helped me out with the tune and a bit of the wiring. And he turned around and said, when you drive it, you'll find that we had to have a stock tune in it so that the engineer could sign off that it was 100% factory. And he said to me that once you turn around and take it for a drive with a stock tune in it, he said, you'll be more than surprised how happy you'll be. And yeah, it's pretty good.
All right, so welcome, Corey. He asked if the Barra's turbo. Obviously, you spoke about it being turbocharged. So yeah, the Barra is turbo. Yeah. It's all factory at the moment.
Yeah, so I turned around and we went through. We actually went through 2 Chinese turbos in a matter of hours, and we eventually turned around and bit the bullet, and bought a Garrett ball bearing turbo, and we haven't had any issues since we've done that. So, yeah, she's basically an FG manifold running ball bearing turbo 3562. So she's the smaller turbo of the series. And yeah, it's going through as I said, a 4-speed BDR, and it's constant all-wheel drive. and we run a 3.73 diff ratios in front and back.
So the thing's going to get up and boogie.
Oh, it doesn't have any trouble. It's it's strange in the wet because when the wheels spin, because the Cherokee, the way it's set up is different to how a Ford Territory is set up. Now, a Ford Territory is set up with an open rear end and an open front, so they spin opposite tyres. We're running an LSD in the rear end and an open front end. So in the wet, it basically, with the steering straight, will change lanes. We'll go from right lane to left lane if you're not ready for it. So, it does it crabbing.
Yeah, wow.
It's literally crabbing across the lane.
Sean's on the pale ale. I think he's a little bit must swing it the other way. I'm assuming Sean's saying that you should be out in the garage. I'm not 100% sure. Big Keg, have you? I think I know the answer to this, but have you had it on the dyno? And if not, what are you expecting power wise once it's all done and dusted?
No, we haven't had it on a dyno because we don't have anywhere that has an all-wheel drive dyno down here. So I think the nearest one's down in Gippsland, and I've forgotten where the other one is. So at the moment,
it's just that rare.
Yeah, and you can't because the transmission it's almost like the transfer case has another diff inside of it. So 35% of the power goes to the front, 75% to the rear. And some of the guys weld them up in their territories so that you've got a 50-50 bias with the towards front and rear. But we've just left it at the stock 35-75. And yeah, we can't just, if you disconnect the front drive, it just doesn't run. It doesn't work. It has to have load to the front wheels, otherwise it doesn't transfer power to the rear. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'd say
what's your ultimate
sitting now?
Sorry, go on.
The ultimate. Look, to be quite honest, I just want to get a bit of time on it, but with COVID, it's made it really, really difficult. The objective was to try and make it the quickest XJ all-wheel drive Jeep, but I need a lot more upgrades before I can actually do that. I won't do it on this motor, and I won't be doing it.
So is it the at the time that you did the conversion, was it Australia's first Barra XJ all-wheel drive?
It will be basically the first XJ engineered with a Barra conversion in it.
Yep. So
right,
first,
so there is a
W.
There is a couple. I think there's one more over in NZ that was done, but things are a little bit different over in New Zealand. And yeah,
let's not talk about them. If they had,
yeah,
go on.
Yeah, so essentially it's running patrol running gear under it. So this guy's gone to a massive effort of running a patrol manual box, and putting patrol diffs and everything under his Jeep. So it's the wheels sit probably a good 3 or 4 inches outside of the wheel arches, which, as you know, Victoria being a nanny state, that's a no-no.
Yeah, so unlike you American guys, we basically can't really drive anything modified within reason. Whereas America seems to be, as long as it's got a VIN or a chassis number, you can get it out on the street. Basically, but
yeah, in America, you've got
so
working lights, insurance.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So, what are you basically waiting on now with the Jeep before it's all gets signed off and whatnot? Is it just literally COVID because of the engineer?
It was COVID. It was booked in, and then Dan Andrews decided to pull his stint, and we're all been in lockdown ever since, and that's it.
Yeah. Might just check these comments. Yeah, Americans do get away with anything, man. Excellent for content because I'd just literally be I'd be doing what all of them do and just pull something out of the scrapyard, cut everything off it, put a big motor in it, and just cruise it down the street and do a bunch of events. Imagine doing that down here. You'd get pulled up. I remember.
A big motor. You know, a big motor is more than 2 litres, don't you?
What's that? Sorry.
I said, a big motor is something with more than 2 litres, don't you?
Yeah, yeah. Thanks, man. But I remember when I owned this. This is I remember. Yeah, I remember when I owned I had an old VC Commodore SL. I think it was an SLE. I don't know if VCs came out in SLEs. I can't even remember, but it looked like an SLE. But it was painted all like glitter blue, and it had a stroker motor in it. So I had a HQ bottom end with a I don't know how they do the 333 strokers. It's like a poor man stroker, but I can't remember what crank they use
Chevy
in the HQ bottom ends.
Chevy
I don't know if it's the 350 Chev. Yeah, so and then I had the VN top end,
not a
so heads
350.
Nah. What is it? A 3 what?
Nah. There's a 327 crank. Yeah, in the 308 block.
Yep.
And that would give you a small stroker, and then you could get a 253 and run a 283 Chevy crank in that, and that would give you there's an obscure 292 in the Holdens.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I had the
SLEs were.
Yeah, so I had the stroker bottom end, and then I had the VN 304 top end, and then I took it to an exhaust shop because I had 2 into 1 right at the back, and I took it to an exhaust shop to get rid of all that and run twin pipes into 2 hooker mufflers that dump right before the diff, and then I got that done, and it sounded nasty. But it was pretty loud. I didn't realize how loud it was going to be. I knew it was dumped at the diff, but I didn't realize how loud it was going to rumble. And as soon as I pulled out the exhaust place, I got pulled over by highway patrol.
Yeah.
Literally, as soon as I got down the driveway onto the highway, woo! And then that was it. That was the end of that chapter. But yeah, that's just giving you an idea of how much of a nanny state Victoria can be, because it's a little bit loud. But the car looked super clean. There wasn't, it wasn't a drag car or anything. But yeah, Americans, you can seem to run no pipes. So yeah, so it's a bit sucks that way for us when we want to get cool stuff for you guys out. We have to follow all the legalities. But yeah, let's. So Adam from GC8 Australia, he's got a bug, and I'm pretty sure you've got a bug too, don't you? So maybe do you want to talk about your little beetle?
Yeah, right. So basically for the last few years, up until probably last year, I used to build all the hollies for the guys for blow-through and draw-through systems for their V-dubs, drag V-dubs up in New South Wales. So, yeah, I have a 65 Beetle myself, and I also have a 79 Combi as well. These are sort of future builds at the moment, but yeah, I have a vintage turbo sitting there with a Holly 465 ready to go on one of them. I just haven't decided which one yet. But Beetles are really, really cool. The thing I like about Beetles is they're a bit like rotaries, right? In the sense that you pay through the arse. like, you don't need a lot of horsepower in a 300 horsepower will get you hitting low tens on the quarter. But the problem is just they're hideously expensive to get their gearboxes to hold up. You'll be looking at nearly $6 to $8 grand just to get a gearbox to hold up to 300 horsepower because they're never designed to do it. But the thing is, you can turn around and swap the pots out from them. So, I mean, this is the beauty of a Beetle when it's a nanny state like Victoria, is that you can turn around and just swap the jugs, put a stroker crank in there and go from 1600 to 2332. So 2.3 litres. Twin levers, you'll see probably about 140, 150 horsepower with a really decent blueprinted motor. And compression, and that thing is fun to drive in a Beetle that's only 800 kilos.
Maybe perhaps touch on some of the other projects that you've got going on. I know you had a little BMW that I spotted in one of your videos that I watched.
Yeah,
but I think I gather you're a bloke that likes to tinker, so I gather that you have a bit of everything.
I just do everything myself. So I paint, I build, I do all the work I do the machine work myself. It's just me in the shed, just doing everything myself. I don't try and say that I do everything right, but it's just the way I do it, and it seems to work.
Yep. Oh, that's it.
So it's
Adam,
it's an 82 E21 BMW.
Yeah, nice. So Adam just mentioned, do you know Frank Crab Motors? Crap Motors? It's literally spelled crap with a K. No. There's your answer.
Oh, you just lost monetization then. There you go.
Yeah, Adam's into Volkswagens pretty heavy, so I think he wants to get in contact with you, but perhaps I can link you guys up after the live. I actually think
Yeah.
I think Adam's slightly down your way. I'm not 100% towards
slightly
your way.
Down.
Anyway,
slightly down. Next postcode past yours.
Towards the coast. But yeah, anything
that works.
anything exciting you've got coming up?
Oh mate, I was bored the other week and I built a
spot.
little steam engine. Yeah, I just as I said, I was a fitter and turner, so
No way.
I just turned around and thought, oh, bugger it. So I had, as everyone knows, we're in COVID lockdown, so we're sort of restricted to what we can do. So I had enough rubbish lying around that I decided to build a little steam engine to it. So that's what I did. Just smashed it out on the lathe and the milling machine, which was fun. But now that's finished. So yeah, the next. Next build's not exactly quite orthodox. It's going to be completely different. I'm utilising stuff that I've got sitting in the garage, and it's not car based. Put it that way.
So I actually think that you and Adam are basically in the same suburb. There you go. It's a small world, but yeah, can you see comments yet or not really?
Yeah, I can see them now. Yeah, they're coming in. Yep,
they're coming through.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I just wanted basically to have a quick chat to you, introduce you to sort of everyone, and let everyone know that once COVID's over, we plan on doing a bit of stuff together, helping each other out on builds and whatnot. I would love for you. I would love to sort of learn the ropes of a bit more fabrication type stuff, and you seem like bloke that would be able to sort of point me in the right direction that way. So even though
Oh
I'm
no, I won't be able to do that, mate. I'll steer you in direction. I guarantee
even
you
though,
that.
yeah. But like, even though I'm a diesel Mac by trade, but, and I've always tinkered on cars, I've never had the luxury of doing much fab outside of the normal making brackets or whatnot, but not sort of, you know, too much of the heavy fabrication. So I love to get into that a bit more, to do a bit more of my own stuff. And
Yep.
perhaps that's something we can collaborate on when we do what I've got coming up.
Yeah.
And all dependent on on restrictions. But yeah, I just wanted to introduce you to my subscriber base and let them know that be seeing you around on the channel a little bit more after restrictions. And so your channel's called ShedTorque, and all your details are in the description. So if you guys want to check out his little homemade steam engine or some of Anthony's other videos, make sure you head across to his channel. Show him some love, because again, he's if you're associated with me, you're generally a good person. So show him some love and some support, and let's try to get his channel to where mine is at 1,000 subs. You've hidden it because you work in secrecy, but I'm sure you're heading up there. But yeah, I also like to take this time to thank all the current, and I know I've got a few subscribers jumping up on my channel, so I hope you're enjoying the content currently, and I appreciate you all for getting me to that first milestone in any YouTube world. I've got a video coming out this coming week on Thursday evening, and I don't know, you're pretty tied up with work and stuff, so I don't know if you've committed to another video just yet. But perhaps maybe let the guys know sort of what you do, and but yeah, so eventually you'll have some stuff.
Right.
You've got an awesome back catalogue to go through.
Yeah, there's a few things that are sort of happening. So I'm a healthcare worker, so essentially I'm devoted to the hospital at the moment, so I don't get a lot of spare time to throw at the channel for over the last couple of weeks anyway. So,
yep.
But,
so
okay.
But yeah, so with that said, I think we will basically end it there. If you guys enjoy lives and whatnot, enjoy sort of just talking cars or whatever, or different projects or whatever, let us know, and perhaps we can do it a bit more regularly. Yeah, with that said, I'd like to thank you, Anthony, for joining me. And Adam, don't worry, I'll look after you. And hopefully you guys can go across to his channel, show him some love, and get him up there. But for now, we'll leave it at that, and we'll see you at the next one.
No worries. All right, guys.